Hopefully we are back live once again. Just testing, just testing. I need to test the mic. Oh, yep, it's working, it's working. Right, so we're back on air once again.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, Jamie. What
So that didn't go as planned. What I wanted to do, I wanted to stay in that party chat and keep myself muted whilst the stream was going on. And I've done it before where I've been in somebody else's party, but I muted myself in that party and I muted other people too. But for some reason that hasn't worked, so I had to leave that party. There is an option where you can do it where you mute yourself in that party but keep the stream going, and unfortunately I haven't done it, so yeah, apologies if you heard anything back there. But we are live streaming once again, and hopefully this time it's a success. We are at the Mexican Grand Prix, and hopefully this should be interesting because we've got the full wet conditions here in Mexico, and the drivers would definitely be struggling through the corners as well. But a matter of lifting and coasting, Lyco, is going to be a procedure quite a lot this season too. You'll see a lot of it, and there'll be a very current theme. So let's see which driver can persevere through these conditions. Fireplace is on the Infinity compound tyres, and a few other people have gone for that tyre too. It does look like it's Tetris conditions, but some drivers have switched over to the Inters, and we'll see if Inters paid the dues around here. I've noticed that Activera is still open for Fireblaze. I thought Activera had to be shut in the wet conditions because it would be deemed too dangerous. Because if you imagine on the throttle and you have a massive dark damp patch somewhere, and you light up the rear tyres and spin. Well, remember what happened to Remo Grosjean back in Monza 2017 when he lit up the tyres on the straight and spun around the car as well. So Activero is still open in these conditions, and I'm going to go look for a driver who is about to start their first flying lap. That's the main rule with me. I look for a driver who's about to start their first flying lap, and we stick on board with them to the end. So I think it's Gurgley who rounds the final corner. I think when Nigel Mansell overtook Berger, was it back in 1990 around Piratella? That was an extremely fantastic move from Nigel Mansell there, and he also won the last Mexican Grand Prix before he took a massive hiatus. So on board with Gurgley in the current Mercedes down towards turn 1, takes a very neat, cautious approach. You don't want to be to push him too hard, especially at these early stages in qualifying. You just want to feel the grip of the car and know where the balance is as well. Try to lean on the car as much as you can as we head down towards turn 4 we go. It's a neat first sector. There's only 3 corners in the first sector. This is a sharp left-hander and right-hander corner too. You've been very, very careful because traction will bite you massively too if you stamp on the alarm pedal a bit too early. They participated, but as we exit turn 6, now coming towards turn 7 right now in these fast, it should be flat out corners, but in the wet conditions, a lot of drivers will be tiptoeing their way around these fast bends here as well, as we gradually build the speed and pick up the power once again for Gurgley as he opens the active aero and uses the boost down the straight. I don't think he's not using boost, is he? Is boost active in the wet conditions? Am I being silly? I'm not quite sure. But he's not. To me, he doesn't seem to be using any boost. So please let me know if boost is allowed. You would have thought it wasn't allowed because it's bringing so much power, but I have no idea, to be honest with you. Gurgley rounds the final corner as he now sets a 32.188 as the benchmark to beat for everybody. So let's see who can try and take away that, as we can see Chris Tam, who has invalidated and is a full second off 2 for good measure. We have seen some people on the Inters as Kurt goes up into P2 with a 32.924. Next up is the Racing Bull, or the Red Bull, as I think he has invalidated. Eggfish George goes up into P3 in the Red Bull with a 32.9, and Bruss, who finished runner-up, at the last race is now P1 with a 32.004 and a 10th quicker than Gurgley in P2. But Fireblaze was one of those people who was on the Innsbruck compound tyres. He's still progressing on his lap time, and I think he was one of those drivers who did invalidate a massive swapper on there for Fireblaze as the rear of the car just a bit reluctant as well as he slams the DRS wash. I say that he slams the air shut going down into turn 4. I think you guys have noticed as well there's a slight hindrance with my voice. There's a slight problem. So with the hay fever I've got, my nose is blocked and I've got a sore throat. So those two combinations do not work well with talking, because it's really hard to talk without losing my voice, without stepping up as well, and trying to pronounce my words correctly as well. So I do want you guys to bear with me tonight, because I will be absolutely struggling here to commentate. My voice will be standing either, and Gurgley goes quicker with a 31.686. Every single driver is just getting used to the circuit. As more laps go on, the better the lap times will be. Chris Tam now pops towards the top, and we'll see what the Norwegian driver Carr could do as he makes his way now towards the line. He cuts the beam, and he pops that Cadillac to P3 with a 31.987, and Fireblaze on the Inter surprisingly has gone P3 with a 31.859. So I'm just going to go on the stream and announce something. I am ill with a sore throat and a blocked nose, so please do bear that in mind, as it is hard to commentate and speak generally. Thank you for understanding. So yeah, just put in the chat there just to reiterate for those people who are wondering why I'm struggling right now. The Audi drivers Doran and Mr. Wiggles on their lap times. Mr. Doran is currently coming towards the end of the first sector, 33.7. I think he's took a podium in the last few races too, as Doran. He has been a quiet-handed driver, but as we now transition onto this new DLC, things will be different. Drivers will be up and down the pecking order, and we'll see who has maximised the game better. I think Doran, did he weave left to right, or did he just struggle with traction? Because we've seen a few people there just tiptoeing and crawling, and he almost, look at that massive slide. So he is struggling there in that middle sector. Is Doran. The back of the car is just not biting for him, unfortunately, as he has a bit of a lag spike as well. So that's his lap time done and dusted there for Doran, as Gurgley has done a 31.2. Fireblaze is back in the pit lane as Chris Town goes P3. Apex George now goes P3 with a 31.805 ahead of Fireblaze's teammates, only by a few hundredths of a second. I do like the Red Bull Ford power chain because it's a little bit crispy and much more higher pitch in comparison towards the other cars as well. So I do like the Red Bull Ford on both the Racing Bull and the Red Bull. The Aston Martin, though, I haven't really heard much of it. Let's go aboard with it to see how it sounds. You can see there the car trundling because he's running traction, and it means more delays. I'm not really rating this engine, on the Aston Martin. It doesn't hit the same as the previous games. It just sounds like it don't sound like a Honda engine, does it? It goes up into P14. I can't really describe the sound. Do you remember the Red Bull Honda when they used to downshift? Oh my, it was lovely indeed. The Alpha Tauris, the Red Bull, when they used to upshift and downshift, it was amazing back in 2020 and 2021. But I don't feel the same as Gurgley goes quicker again. So every time he does a lap time, he tends to go quicker. And you can do that, by the way, on a set of wets or inters, because the more laps you do on the wets or inters, the better, because the tire temperature doesn't skyrocket like the soft compound tire, because the inner surface is much more thicker, and therefore the tires don't heat up much, and that's why you can go quicker. And set consecutive lap times too. You don't use much battery either, other than down the main straight, so you can continuously do laps. As Adams goes up into P3 in the Mercedes, so well done to him for that effort, as MCFC is 2-3 tenths up in this middle sector as he now tackles the stadium section, these slow speed corners. You got to be very, very patient on the throttle as well. Try and build the throttle up and brake traction, but some people here are using medium traction control, which means that you can get the power early, it must be said, as MCFC goes P10 in the McLaren then. So there's a massive field spread, as you expect in the wet condition, because usually in the dry conditions, the tyres are more compact, but in the wet conditions, they're more separated, because every single driver has different skill sets, more confident levels in their car and setup and themselves. Plus, in the Ferrari, slightly up in the first sector, and he's down behind him now on a set of the intermediate compound tyres. So a few people exploring the Inters. Fireblaze, however, has transitioned over to the wet conditions. So he feels like the wet conditions are too bad for the Inters, so the wet compound tyres are quicker. But Gurgley is on absolute rails, you know. Do you know what? I feel so bad for him because I've not looked at a single lap from Gurgley, and yet I'm watching everybody else. And he's done 5 laps consecutively and gone quicker, and quicker. So I do feel sorry for him. That's my bad there, but I will go on board with you. I'm sure there's plenty more lap times to come for Gurgley because the time's ticking down. With a brand new set of wets, plus lower fuel, plus better grip. As Bruss towards the line, it goes up into P2, the closest driver towards Gurgley. So let's go on board now with Gurgley. Is he on another lap time? He isn't. 4 tenths down, so I've just missed his best moments. So as Adams there, going through the fast corners, he's 4 tenths down in the middle sector, so he's not really on a flying level. Fireblaze, look at him. 5 tenths up, but a massive moment, and he compromised going down in towards the double right-hander there. So messed up slightly, but he's still going. Might as well keep going because he's still 4 tenths up. He might have lost a tenth or two there, but worth noting is to keep going now. His best lap time was on the Inters. Inters. So maybe finds more grip on these wet conditions. We'll see what the intermediate split like. Look at that, 1 second, so he might as well keep going. And if you go on board with the Red Bull, I do like the sound of it. It does sound like the actual Red Bull in the F1 game, as he has a little bit of a hesitation going in towards the stadium section there, as he's pushing and trying to find the limits of the car through these slow speed corners. And let's see what Fireblaze can do now as he exits the final corner. What's this lap time going to be? As he squirms and squirms, he takes pole. It's a 30.557 for Fireblaze, despite losing time in turn 4 between turn 5 and the last corner. He fought away with the car, wrestled it like an octopus, and still managed to claim pole. But Cart goes up into P3 in the Cadillac. So the tyres are starting to dip down. Every single driver starts to find their feet as Bruss in the Ferrari goes quicker by a few hundredths of a second there. So impeccable times coming in, taking fast from every single driver. I think every single driver now is starting to find their rhythm as the conditions maybe start to get better too. Apex George is on the Inters. More people are transitioning over to the intermediate, so that could be the better tyre for now. We'll see which tyre. I think it's at a quarter of a point between the wets and the Inters. I have no idea what tyre could be significantly better and quicker. Maybe they're just on a similar wavelength between the two. Apex George is down in the first sector by 500ths of a second. His best lap time was on the wet, so that's his first comparison. That's his comparison towards himself, and he hasn't set a first green sector. So, yep, once again the back end of the car just tail wagging. Massive tank slapper through the exit there, and we'll see if he finds more time in this middle sector. But it seems like the intermediates are just teased on the edge there, and it may not be yet the conditions for the Inters. Maybe the wets are just slightly faster and in their zone, but we'll see what George's middle sector is like. Two and a bit tenths up. So he goes off the track there, but keeps it, well, not really in the white lines, but still valid as he goes down into first gear. But Cart, my goodness me, goes quicker as George does in Validator's lap time. Chris up into P5 in the McLaren, so solid attempt there for him. And we've got more of our competitors coming out on the circuit. MCFC has just invalidated his lap time and was attempt up in the first sector, so plenty of time to be found there for him in P9. Here comes Ronnie towards the line. Ronnie cuts the beam and stays P15 despite a huge improvement. So it looks like he's still struggling there in the what team is he in? Williams. There we go, Williams. I just had to mute myself because I sneezed. So if you do hear me cut myself off because I muted myself and I was sneezing. So let's go on board then with Cart. Cart currently the quickest man by 0.3 of a second, but surprisingly he is still on the wet compound tyres. If he was to abandon this lap of pit, he could do one lap on the Inters which could define all the difference there. But he's just invalidated. So is it worth for him to box a slap on a set of inters, and push? Bruce, on the other hand, is also having the same enigma as him, so I think he should be boxing at the end of the lap, but I don't know, you know. It could be on the very brink of a crossover point or just stay the same. It depends, though, who has the most confidence on the intermediates, who can absolutely flash the car around. But Gurgley, let's go on board with him, as I promised, down in towards turn 1. He is now set on an intermediate compound tyre, coming through turn 2 and turn 3, as Chris in the McLaren absolutely blitzed the lap time. And Bruce goes up into P2 in the Ferrari. We're now in the 29s. Gurgley towards the end of the first sector, down by 1/10 of a second. So maybe has got to do another warm-up lap. He's got that extra lap to do so if he wants it. Still a bit of time left to go in the session, but Fireblaze is still in the pit lane. What's he thinking? I swear he came out of the pit lane and now he's back there. So what is he decided? Is he deciding the inters? Is it the wets? Is he watching other people, observing what the people are trying to do in these conditions and trying to get the best judgment on tyres? We'll see. It's all a mix right now, but Adams coming towards the final couple of corners on this racetrack. Here he is towards the line. It's P7 only, as he did not improve. Gurgley down by 5 milliseconds there in the middle sector. Can he find any more time? 7/10 is a massive deficit to make up. So maybe not this lap, next lap could be the lap. I think he's got this lap and next lap left. So 2 more laps left, and we'll see. Gurgley, though, you know what? Despite that infringement in the middle sector, he still found more time in the last sector by 0.2 of a second. We see Bruce invalidating. We're seeing Chris also. What's he doing right now? Chris, is he on the lap time? Let's have a look right now to see what he's doing. Here he comes out the final corner. Can he raise the benchmark once again? And the answer is yes. It's a 29.782. And he's raised the benchmark once again. Has Chris. Can anybody displace him? We're about to find out now towards the dire stages of qualifying. This has been a yo-yo qualifying because every single driver has been, well, up and down really in this qualifying session. We don't know who could take pole. This is the unknown here in this qualifying session. Anybody could take pole if they find the grip to do so. But a lot of drivers there on the lap times, but I don't really see anybody really improving on their lap times. Look at Daniel Doran, 0.3 up in this middle sector, and I think George has got P9 in the Red Bull. Fireblaze has got one more lap in his locker to try and do something. He's just started his last lap. Cart and Bruce out of lap of pit. Bruce's qualifying is over, so he has to watch out over his shoulders here. As Doran towards the final corner, across the line right now. P12 in the Audi. We've got Matty improving by 5/10. Billy G goes up into P15 or stays there, but Matty on a big improvement in the first sector by 5/10 per second. Then, as Gurgley goes P2 in the Mercedes, one more lap for him to go and chase for pole position. I promised to watch him. Matty 1.1 up in the middle sector, so he's on a huge improvement so far on his current flying lap. Now, keep it all together because he could put himself inside the top 10, so the final few corners are absolutely crucial if he wants a chance of bringing the car inside the top 10. We're about to find out what he could do now as he exits the final corner very cautiously. Let's see what can he do now in the racing ball. Goes up into P8 there and just inside the top 10. But our main competitive, Gurgley up by 0.17 of a second. Where's Fireblaze? Fireblaze is not on a lap time. That's his qualifying done and dusted. Fireblaze has fallen in defeat here in the qualifying. He has fallen in the hurdle. I think he spent too long in the pit lane, you know, and that's why he didn't get too many laps on the board. So that's probably the wrong judgment call for Fireblaze. But Gurgley, our competitor, is still left. Cart is still left. Adams in P6 is still left, but he's in a bit of traffic up there, is he? Let's have a look to see where he is. Yes, he is. Here he comes towards the final two corners. What could Adams do as he stamps on the lower pedal once again, sliding to the corner? Adams stays P6, but where is Gurgley's up by 0.3 of a second. Gurgley is willing to take pole away from Chris. Can he do it at the very last second? He's been setting quick times after quick time. Here comes Gurgley towards line. Gurgley, a 29.419, and he has taken pole away by 0.3 of a second. Well done to him. He has been absolutely flying in this session and proven to be the man to beat again. Has Gurgley, he won the Hungarian Grand Prix, runner up in P3 in the last race, and now taking pole here. He has done a sensational job. He has stance authority at the front of the field, but as you know, in Mexico, it is not the best thing to do to start in first place, is it? Because you're most likely to get slipstream off the start. Yeah, this is really difficult, by the way. My voice is absolutely going. I wasn't actually going to talk in this qualifying session, but you know what? Might as well give it a go to see what happens. I know my voice doesn't sound very, very good right now. It sounds very drowsy. You know what I mean? It sounds very, very rough. If that makes sense. I'm just talking like I don't know how to describe it, to be honest with you. I had the words in my head, but they just gone. Sounds like I'm talking. I have no idea. I'm not going to make any comparisons. But yes, there's definitely a lump in my throat, unfortunately. More than just a lump. If you do hear me mute myself in out of the blue, that means I'm sneezing as well. So I don't want you guys to hear me sneeze or cough or splutter. But it is Gurgley on pole position by 0.3 of a second. Well done to him. Chris and Peter, Chris Tam, Bruce and Gurgley have really surprised me too. And they're good run of form. Could be delivering good results. Later on, Carter people ahead of Apex George. Well done to him. Our qualifying Fireblaze ahead of Adams, MCFC, Matty, Energy Dan, Keith, G, Ronnie, Doran, Oyo Glass, Wigglesworth, Mr. Wiggles, sorry, Roy Fat Boy is down in last place. It's very convenient for me to be ill in the summer. It's a shame because I've got a race this weekend in the Netherlands itself. Nope, it's not MotoGP because MotoGP is there in Assen. It's for the 24-hour race there. So I can't wait. It's going to be very interesting, and I really hope that I'm not ill. I guess what? It's 37 bloody degrees. Can you believe it, on Saturday and Sunday? So the people doing the 24-hour race like me and the MotoGP riders who are there in Assen. It's going to be absolutely horrendous, and full respect to every single driver out there, and full respect for the MotoGP riders. It's going to be scorching hot as well, and Austria too, it should be hot. So we're entering the peak summer where things are going to get very, very hot indeed. It's super hot in the UK. I'm absolutely sweating here in the commentator box, or should I say in my room. I've got a fan in the background. I've got some lem slips. I've got tissues. Yeah, just the wrong things you need in the commentator box. But we work through the pain, unfortunately. We try and drive through it and persevere. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Milan's not here tonight, which is a shame because I would love to have him alongside me. And it would ease with the pain because I don't have to talk so much. But unfortunately, I do have to be alone, be solo, and be suffering. But yes, 37 degrees, scorching temperatures. I wonder what it's like in Assen, because Assen and Eindhoven, they're in the same country, but quite far apart. Because I think Assen's more northwest, east, and Eindhoven's more south. So I'm going to look at the temperature. Oh my goodness me, 34 degrees. 37 degrees for the race in MotoGP. That's going to be absolute horror. I feel sorry for the people in MotoGP having to do sprint racing, qualifying and practice as well. What's it like in Austria this weekend? ...31 degrees in Austria. Track temperature obviously will be much higher. So not bad, you know. It'll be a bone dry race at the Austrian Grand Prix. But we arrived in Mexico, of course. Last spin, I think, was Nigel Mansell back in 1990. Oh, don't get it wrong, Jamie, don't get it wrong. Was it 2? That's without any research, by the way. So don't quote me on that one. I don't know the last time. Was it 1992? I think it was, yeah. So 1992's last win for Nigel, not last win for Nigel Mansell, but the last time he came to Mexico. And 2015 is when we returned back in Mexico, and it was Nico Rosberg who took the victory ahead of Hamilton, and that's when Rosberg streaked could start to happen because he won 7 in a row from Mexico to the Russian Grand Prix. Nico Rosberg won 7 in a row, and what incredible that was as well, because that meant he could win the championship in 2016. Obviously 2015 not going to add on to what happened in 2016, but it's a bow dry race here, and we'll see then what happens going down in towards turn. What's going to be a drag race here. 2016, 1 year later, was a Celtic race because Hamilton won, but at the same time Vettel, Ricciardo, Verstappen got themselves a little bit of trouble as they were battling so hard for third place. It was Verstappen who was on the podium, then it was Vettel on the podium, then it was Ricciardo on the podium. So multiple podium changes as well. Ricciardo finally got the podium after unsportsmanship like from Vettel and Verstappen. And 2018 is when Ricciardo started from pole position, but then his engine failed and he had his 8th DNF in that race too. So poor Ricciardo, he's had some really bad luck in the Red Bull, and he always seems to have an engine blowout as well. I remember 2018, I think everybody likes Ricciardo. He's obviously not everybody's favourite driver, but he's a likeable driver, a likeable person, and we all want to see him do well. But back in 2018, it was so frustrating just seeing him break down all the time, not Verstappen. I do have to take some long pauses to try and help my voice as well, so my nose is snotty. Yep, I'm in perfect condition to start this race, perfect conditions, but we'll try and work our way through it, as always. It is a 900-meter sprint down in towards turn 1. Pole position gives you track position, but it doesn't guarantee the lead in towards turn 1. You could be P2 or P3. You need a good strong launch and probably hold the inside line and try and prevent other people behind you from gaining a slipstream. Well, battery deployment is going to be massively on this track as well. So we'll see what happens as the lights on the gantry, all lights to the lights in front of us, 4, 5 lights. It's a jump start for the Mercedes as we get racing underway here in Mexico. Car takes the lead immediately. Gergli's been pushed down into P3 as Car, oh look at that, in contact as we see Mercedes Gergli on the grass there. We're almost 4 abreast going down in towards turn 1, the Ferrari on the inside. Can he take up both of them? On the inside goes Buss. Is that a triple overtake? It is. He goes on the inside, Gergli cuts the corner, and Car gets a 10-second time penalty as well for good measure. He's taking the Lewis Hamilton route back into 2016, but Buss is up at a P2 as well. He held the inside line and he takes away P2 as well. What a great move there from the Ferrari driver, as Car has to serve 2 penalties in this race. Now you look at that massive penalties as we see Fireplace side by side with the McLaren of Chris going around the outside there too for good measure, as Fireplace is up and ahead and up into P4 ahead of Chris. Drivers jostling for position further down in the field. Kart has got 2 penalties to his name already in this race, a drive-through and a 10-second time penalty to go with it too. As we go down for the first time in turn 13, Fireblaze looking for an opening because Gergli went wide on the exit there, which opened up a little bit of a chance for Fireblaze to make a move, but he stays behind for the time being. Every single driver saving battery as overtake mode is available on the straight. Then Car pits, which leaves Buss in the lead, and I think Buss has the overtake too. No, he doesn't have the overtake, but here we go down in towards turn 1. There's a massive slipstream for the guys behind. Fireblaze on the attack in towards turn 1 as the Ferrari covers the inside line. But Fireplace is on the way to move. Gergli goes around the outside. He has the inside for turn 2 and turn 3. But Buss is able to fight back underneath as well. Gergli goes off the track once again. Here comes Fireplace now with a better exit. More battery. Will he get him? As we head down towards turn 4, we go. Fireplace trying to hold him on the outside. But Gergli late on the brakes too. But Fireplace still on the attack. But has to give way as Chris gets on the curb and loses traction. But down the inside goes Gergli. He takes lead in turn 5. Incredible. It was an audacious lunge and he puts himself up into first place. Oh my goodness me. Great move indeed. He caught him off guard. He absolutely caught him off guard. And he took the lead of the race on lap 2 in an unconventional place to overtake as Fireblaze is on the attack going down in towards the right hand. There we go. And he takes away P2 as well. So Buss is dropping backwards like a stone here. He doesn't have... Oh, down the inside goes Chris. What a send. Amazing move there for Chris as Adams is going to go down the inside on Buss. Oh, he spins. Oh my goodness. He spins. Can he kill the car? Yes, he can, but he's lost so many places in the process too. This is unbelievable. Great progress for Chris, but unfortunately the final corner just caught him out. Things will not settle down from here as Gurgley goes very wide in the breaker zone. Fireblaze though looking for an up and under, try and get a little bit of a switchback on him, heading out of turn 3. Just about to say DRS open, but it's the active area open. Going down in towards the breaker zone is Fireblaze, poised to make a lunge on the inside. No, oh, Gurgley goes wide again. This is not great for his tyres. He's burned up those tyres, and Fireblaze does a switchback, running it over, and he takes the lead in the same place Gurgley took it on the last lap. So just mirrors his moves there as well. I really wish I didn't have a sore throat, because otherwise my commentary would be 1,000 times better, but my voice is getting really bad now. The things I do for this league is unbelievable. Oh, Chris gets a 3-second time penalty in this race. Aiden's now in the attack on the back of Bruss. So Bruss is really struggling at this early stage of the Grand Prix. Tyre wear is massive as Gurgley inherits a 3-second time penalty in this race too, for good measure. So his race will go bad to worse. He wants the hero to 0, and now he's got a penalty already in this Grand Prix, which is not going to do any favours at this stage in the race. There's a long way to go, of course. We've got a few people. Come on, Jamie, what are you doing? There we go. Midfield scrap. Oh, I've lost the bearings. There we go. Sorry about that. I just lost my bearings for a second. I couldn't see the screen. But Adams, Bruss in the battle on the back of Gurgley in the wheel tracks of the Mercedes, who seems to be struggling the stage. And this is a great opening for both of them to move at one place, with the expense of Gurgley's 3-second time penalty picked up on the last lap too. So I think these two will be looking hard bothered to try and get him. Apex George is still P5, and Chris, despite the spin, Chris is up into P6 despite the spin. So great drive from him so far. Oh, a few drivers there jostling for position in the midfield. MCFC rejoins on the track with the racing bull there on the outside, which is Keith. As the Audi goes for a spin, Mr. Wiggles there just lost traction, and on the grass it goes as well for good measure. Oh, Bruss has been overtaken by Adams, but not yet though, because Bruss is coming back on Mercedes. Oh, bit of time going in there. Oh, he spins on the curb. Do you know what? That's battery mixed with the driver on the curb. Pick up the throttle too early too for good measure. So Bruss there touched the curb on the outside, and was also used the battery, boost battery, which is never good because you accelerate too quickly, you lose traction, and the rear tyres were just split up, unfortunately for him. That's why he lost traction there, and he rejoins the P6 as well. So I think the race might get a little bit quieter now, because the drivers there started to settle in their solidified positions, and Super Mercedes are close together indeed as well. This is not a season, this is not a championship fight or constructors either, so the points don't really matter. It's just a taste of season, isn't it? Keep down the inside of outside. Oh my goodness me, Oreo Glass. But looks like Oreo Glass then has been demoted down to P9, now relegated into P10, because here comes the Billy G in the Aston Martin, but he's not able to make a move that time, as the Cadillac goes a bit deep though. The car sideways in towards the corner there, and once again loses traction. Billy G on the outside, headed towards the double right hand. We go. There's the other Cadillac, as once again Oreo Glass loses traction, and the Aston Martin goes through, but Chris is spun again. Oh, Chris. Oh my goodness me. Chris is spun once again. The team Mercedes are now in battle. Adams. Oh, I thought for 1 second there. Might fancy a move on the inside because the door was open, but I don't think he fancied that one. I think he's been very patient because he knows that Gurgley does not have the battery or the boost, I must say. Whereas Adams does have the boost, more power down the straight, and should be able to get an overtake done here down towards turn 1. So boost is enabled for the cars behind, but it doesn't seem to be gaining. Now it does. Here he comes. Is this a move, Adams? And look at that. We can see that Gurgley just pulls to the right hand side and lets his teammate go for P2. It's not really a team battle, is it? Because there's no team orders on a season like... It's not really a season, is it? No points and constructors. But Gurgley, when he fancies chances back with his teammates, no, he doesn't. Stays behind him. It's been some great scraps in the opening segment of this race. Battles absolutely everywhere you look as well, as drivers continue once again to pick up penalties. As we see, who's that? That's McLaren of... Who is it? Oh, it's Chris again, who's spun for the 3rd time in this race. Oh, what a shame for Chris as well. Who's that going for a spin? That's a weird place to spin. Energy Down lost out of traction too. I think Energy Down is running no traction, and he might have just squirmed away. Maybe the tyres are overheated too. Remember, as brutal as it is with battery, saving up as much as you can. Oh, look at that. We can see Gurgley once again go wide. So he may be the man in the wet, but in the dry, he seems to be falling down and tumbling down. Here comes George around the outside. Nice move there for George as he puts himself up into P3. So Gurgley had pace in the wet, but in the dry, he seems to be struggling. But here comes the Mercedes on the back of the Red Bull. Doesn't go over the lunge down in towards turn 1. I might take a bit of a break and stop talking for a while because my voice is starting to strain and struggle. Yeah, the longer I talk, the worse it will get. It's like a very, very sore pain coming through, so it feels like my voice is about to be gone. I have no voice left. So I apologise for that. Hopefully I'll be better next week. But I'll take a short break. Obviously I'm going to still stream, but you won't hear my voice for a while, so just let me sit back and relax. Oh dear, Gurgley just at the wall there at the exit at turn number 13, I think it is. Now, bus on the back of him. Gurgley is in the pit lane at the exit of on the end of lap 8, and that could be a front wing change and an early pit stop for him. But Adams, my guy, is up into P2. This man, a former champion in Division 2, I think it was, all those years ago. This man is underrated, like, I don't know, he's just under the radar. He reminds me a bit like Nick Heidfeld and all those drivers, you know, just always up there. Maybe he can't get the race win, maybe one race or two, like Jarno Trulli and all the rest of them who scored at least 1 or 2 wins, but not a lot of podiums, but not a lot of wins, it must be said. But Adams, you know, just a driver to always keep an eye on, and he's up there in P2. Could this be his game as well? Has he found his feet on this game? It's early to tell with all the other drivers struggling out there, but he's definitely keeping it pointed in the right direction and doing an absolute solid job so far. So full respect to this man, a very quiet person. I've never heard him speak, actually, to be honest with you. I think I've heard him speak like once or twice, but on the other hand, I've not really heard him elsewhere. I think I've done a few podium interviews with him, but he's so quiet. I don't know what he sounds like anymore. We've got a few people pitting at this early stage in this race, so that's definitely indicating that a two-stop strategy will be inevitable. I think a lot of drivers here just struggling to stay with tyre wear. Tyre wear is still huge around here, as the front tyres take a lot of punishment indeed in the left bends. That centre really takes it out on the tyres as well, and graining is definitely showing there too. I think in most tracks it's still a one-stop strategy, but some lean onto the two-stop. Tracks like this, for sure, I definitely lean on the two-stop as well, but I think a definite one-stop could be on the cards in other tracks like Hungary, Mexico, who else? Abu Dhabi sometimes, Singapore. Just trying to think off the top of my head now where other stops, other tracks could be a two-stop. Spain, not really. It's all about time management in Spain. Just keep going as long as you can in Spain. Did Billy G make a mistake? I'm not quite sure if he did on the main straight or not. I just want to go back to Adams in P2. Give you a little bit of a soliloquy about him, but somebody's gone for a spin in the final corner. Who is he? I'm not quite sure who it was. Could be a Haas. Ronnie now on the back of Keith, going down the main street, but they both know that Ronnie doesn't have the boost button activated to his car. But as you can really tell, I'm struggling to speak. I've got a sneeze coming, just bear with me for a few seconds. Right, I'm back. So I want to go back to Adams. The gap is 4.4 seconds, and he's building the gap over Apex George. And the gap was like 1.4 the last time I saw it. That was 2.2 seconds as yellow flags there just fluttered about in the distance. But Adams, for me, is one of those drivers who have become a consistent presence in this league. No matter the season, no matter the grid, he's always seen. He always seems to be there, sorry. A former champion from years ago, he's built a reputation through persistence, resilience, and the ability to keep fighting regardless of circumstances. Over the past few years, in Division 1, 2, or 3, he's picked up wins and podiums, and he's still proving the speed that he's very much up there and still a competitor. And what makes Adams an intriguing driver is just sometimes his unpredictability as well. It's like a yo-yo. It's like a yo-yo in race form as well, because sometimes he can be the back struggling, out of contention, and sometimes he's right there at the front of the field as well. So it's like an enigma. You just don't know Adams. You can't quite predict where he end up at the checkered flag. Even though he's had some really difficult races, and for a long period of time, things aren't just going his way at all. Who's that in front of us there? Is that a ghosted car? Car's back on the track. Somebody's going slowly there. Is that an Audi pulling to the side? Is Ronnie going almost side by side with Chris going down towards turbo? Chris has pitted onto a new set of hardcore power tyres. I'm getting a bit sidetracked as well because I'm missing a few important key things here, but I'm not fully paying attention, as you guys can know. So I do apologise if I'm missing things. You know me as a commentator, I barely miss things. I always try and keep 100% really. Look at everything that goes on in the race and give you the story, etc. But in this race, I'm a bit sidetracked. Gurgley has got a 3-second penalty as well for multiple warnings in this race, so that's another infringement for him. But the gap stabilised between Adams and George, and Fireblaze just to control this race. Right from the outset. But back to Adams. He's quiet by nature and not a driver to seek the spotlight. Adams lets his driver do the talking, and from time to time again, who's that going for a spin? That is Doran there, who was just going for a spin in the stadium session. Gurgley's retired. Where is that, I wonder? Oh, pit lane, so he's out of the race. There's no safety car appearing. Both racing bulls are in battle. And now we've got Keith ahead of Matty, goes up into P6. But Adams, from time and time again, he showed incredible ability to stay composed, keep pushing, and appear when you least expect him as well. A quiet character. You don't really see Adams caught up in incidents, and if he is, you don't really see him shouting, hollering and hooting in the chat either. Quite a calm driver, unless you piss him off, of course. He is Scottish, so if you piss off a Scottish driver, he will snap back at you. But I've never really seen him throw hands in the chat either. Car, quickest in the first set by 10, has overtaken Doran on new tyres, of course. 22 laps to do on those hardcore powered tyres may not be doable. But George now pits, so one of the front runners have gone into the pit lane now to get rid of the midi-cord powered tyres. Maybe they had enough. Is this too early? We're about to find out. Is this hardcore powered tyres? It is for the Red Bull driver. So on goes the set of the hardcore powered tyres, and we'll see where he feeds into the equation. He should be ahead of a few people like the two Racing Bulls because they're quite far back. So trundling down the pit lane to 80 kilometers an hour as he exits the pit lane speed limiter, rejoins in P5. Nice clean air. Not really though, because Bus is in front of him. The gap is 1.2 and he's on younger tyres, so maybe could dispatch him quicker in this race. But yeah, that's why I gave a massive paragraph to Adams, because who's that behind him? It's Aston Martin. Likeable character, you know, not a lot of people have any quarrels with Adams or have anything bad to say about him. You know, just gets the job done. Just puts his head down, get the job done. I don't really glaze over Adams that much, but I thought I'd do because he deserves it, and he's been a long time member for many years now as well as the Scotsman in P2. I admire him so much, you know, really great guy, a great driver as well, nice to talk to, maybe very quiet, but does give you a lot of advice. As Fireblaze is in the pit lane at the exit of lap 15 then, so Adams occupies the lead. Maybe Adams should start thinking about pitting as well, because he could be under threat by Bruce and George, who are flying on their new hardcore powered tyres. So I think Adams should be in the pit lane very soon, because his time is limited on those mini-cut powered tyres. The longer he spends those mediums, the worse, the higher chance for those guys to undercut. Right, so a bit of stopping around in the midfield then. Matty, Chris and Keith has gone down to P8 there on the mini-cut powered tyres. Chris Tam in P7, a few tenths back. And Matty is moving left and right to break his toe. I wonder if Chris can get past him going down in towards turn 1. He hasn't got the overspeed, has he? No, he has not. Going down in towards turn 1. I think Matty just saved enough battery as well. Headed down in towards the first corner. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but Lyco is the way to go. Let's see if Matty Lycos. Yeah, he does. Only for a brief moment. Fuel is not really a big issue now, because obviously lifting and coasting, Mr. Biggles has left the session, but you lifted and coasted so much, you don't need to put some fuel in the car. You could underfuel the car by about a lap or two, no exaggeration. But George now on the back of Billy G. Billy G is not going to find that one, as Adams is finally in the pit lane to dispose of his mini-cut powered tyres. So 60 laps on the mini-cut powered tyres, not a bad stint actually. But now he switches over to the hardcore powered tyres. I wonder where the Scotsman will rejoin. Bruce P3, George in P4. Will Adams fit? I think he might rejoin behind them both, despite being in clean air before the pit stops happening. So let's see where he feeds in. It is P4. There he is, just ahead of Billy G. That was very crucial for his race. Now he's on the better tyres towards his rivals, George and Bus. He may have lost track position, but he does have a bit of a tyre advantage there too, so he can utilise that, try and claw back some time towards George and Bus, and hunt him down towards the Grand Prix. 20 laps is still a stretch on the hardcore powered tyres, but I think Adams can make it work. Maybe Bus could be on the cusp of just dropping off there too, so might have to worry about his tyre later on in the race too. Matty at the back of Chris going down in towards, he's got a Cadillac on the outside, and on the inside line it's a shove past. Who does that remind me of? Perez and Lawson, when they both barge wheels there back in 2024. Very aggressive indeed. I remember, I think it was Bottas and Kimi Raikkonen who crashed there back in 2015. The two Finns crashing once again in the same year in turn 4. But after that, I think they kept it nice and clean from there on in. So, keep an eye on Adams there in P4. The gap is 1.4 seconds between himself and George. Energy Dan and Keith, the two commentators for Division 1, are together in battle. So let's keep an eye on those two progress as well on the soft powered tyres. Of course, they're going for the second stop because they can't take those soft towards the end either. Keith, people like Keith, Energy Dan, Doran as well. You know, you don't really see these guys in Division 1. You've seen them before Division 1, but they just struggle massively as well. Doran as well, Energy Dan, Keith, MCFC, Matty, I think Chris has been around here a long time, Billy G, Adams as well. These guys have been around here for such a long time. And it's nice to see these guys still. I know that F1 league racing is slowly on the decline, or massively on the decline. It is dying league racing, admittedly, but it's nice to see some loyal faces still here. And I do miss the old people like, Harry Kane, Noldus, Laser, and all of them. Like the old faces we used to see here racing as well. And years ago, this league has been continuing its cycle since, 2017, 16, and it's still going over 10 years, which is an absolute incredible achievement as well, to keep going for a long period of time and keep the league running. I know numbers are limited as well, and the game is not really up to its standard either. But to see these guys still racing it's just a joy to see these guys still continuing as well, because I know it's not been easy for some people. Some people more viable to give up because the game is just a little bit more difficult as well, and not everybody likes this game, because of the lifting and coasting. It's more like artificial racing, it must be said, instead of like pure. You still got some pure skill and pure pace, obviously, but it's more tactical thinking. You can be thinking on your feet now. It's not push all the way through. I know it's counterintuitive as well. It's an oxymoron, so what you need to do, but more like as you can't use all the battery in one go, because if you do, you're vulnerable pretty much throughout the whole lap and straight, because you spend one lap just recharge the battery as well. That's why you be very clever and very methodical and meticulous in terms of using battery, because if you use it all in one go, then you're pretty much in danger for the rest of the race. So literally thinking on your feet as well. I know like people like me who like just push as well, just love to push all the time. You can't really do that no more. You've got to lift the coast and just save battery, be management of tyres too. There's a lot to think about in this game. It's not easy anymore, is it? Unfortunately, like the old games where it's a lot easier to save battery because you've got different battery modes like high, low, medium, hot lap, or overtake. 2024, it was so easy to save battery, wasn't it? Because DRS trains were absolutely everywhere. Even if you didn't have the outright pace to beat the guys ahead, you still win that DRS train because you were glued together. Because I'm not quite sure how to describe it. I think I know why. Because the dirty air wasn't really effective, was it? The engine went overheat, the tyres went overheat, and dirty air was just invisible on the older games. But you can definitely tell the difference in 2025 because the engine overheats as well. You lose a bit of power on the straight too. And tracks like this, with the altitude, the intensity of it is so high. That's when you start to feel the effects too. And that's why 2024 was the definition and the epitome of DRS games. Oh, look at this then. A battle brew for P2 as I waffle on about the old games. Trying to think of things to say. Do you know what this? Oh, careful, George, careful. A bit of a slide at the exit there of the penultimate corner. And now Adams is super close. This man can sense a podium. In fact, he can sense two people right in front of him. This man is on fire, as well as Fireblaze in P1. That guy is gone. Also, before, I want to give a shout out to Fireblaze, all of his incredible work, and massive bubble on there for George next to turn 3. So at this stage, is it pressure? Is it tyres going off? Is it overheating? Is it a combination of both, where he starts to become under pressure and starts to make more mistakes because you can feel the heat of Adams breathing down his neck, and therefore he's making mistakes left, right, and centre as well, putting a foot wrong in corners, thinking more behind than in front because he's losing tyre towards Bruce now. Is George, despite having a 3-lap difference in tyres. So George there in P3 starts to feel the heat from the Scotsman behind. And Dan has picked up a 3-second tab as well, as he has a fight of his own down there. He's just picked up the hardcore bar tyres too. 16 laps left to go in this race. Been a bit quiet at the front, but things are about to spice up now. Between these three, Bruce, George and Adams, all fighting for a podium in P2, but there's only 2 places for a podium because Fireblaze is to occupy one of them, and I'm pretty sure it's really hard to speak as my voice is going, but I'm pretty sure Fireblaze will remain unchallenged at the front. Nobody can defeat the force of Fireblaze, but George in P3 though has to defend from his life. So is this more tactical? Stay in Bruce's overtake mode and keep Adams behind because he knows he can't overtake Bruce, otherwise he's left vulnerable towards Adams. So is it best to stay behind Bruce? It's the old DRS games. I thought for one second George might have picked up a penalty there. I thought that back in the DRS games, when you use the driver in front of you for DRS and keep the guy behind, could this be the same scenario? Can you do that with overtake mode? A bit difficult because the boost, if you use it, it drains dramatically. The MGUH has disappeared, and I think it's the turbocharger that used to store some battery as well. The MGUK obviously still there because that recovers battery from braking, but in terms of the MGUH, which restores battery from the turbo, is gone. So that's why the battery is limited now. The maximum allowance you used to use in one race, in a lap, sorry. But George on the back, oh Bus, look at that speed, 350 kilometers an hour, side by side going down in towards the first corner. Bus lets off the brake pedal. George around the outside towards turn 2 and turn 3. What a move going down into turn 3. George has taken P2 away from Bus, and now Adams is under pressure. Adams is putting pressure there on Bus for P2. You know what? Some moves have been absolutely ice on the cake here as well. I would love to see these type of moves because it's not a simple walk past, is it? You want to see overtaking in corners. You want to see the overtakes completed side by side or on the brakes. You don't want to see people charging past on the straight. And that's what we've seen in the beginning of the season in Australia, China, Japan as well. We've changed the rules a little bit in terms of battery, but Adams now can sense a podium coming this way because Bus on his old hardcore power tyres is struggling there in P3. A podium is materialising for the man in P4. He's got 14 laps left. You don't need to force one right now. He's not got the tyre advantage towards the end. You know he's got the pace to do so. Just pick his round off one by one. Here we go then, has the exit of the final corner. He's super close to the back of the gearbox of the Ferrari with the overtake available to him. Let's see if Adams can make a move going down in towards turn 1. He pulls to the left hand side. He's got to outbrake him in towards turn 1. Here he is there, wheel to wheel with the Ferrari driver down towards turn 1 we go. Adams to the outside, the Ferrari and the inside contact. But luckily, just a mere contact and nobody is in a spin. Could have ended worse there too for good measure, but luckily they kept it on the track and Bus has to accept defeat for now unless he comes back down the inside towards turn number 4 as Chris has retired from this race. Poor Chris. Billy G and Matty's in the pit lane too as well. Let's not forget those guys down there. But now Adams wants to reclaim P2. He's on the better tyres of anybody so far in this race. The youngest tyres in the top 10. I say that Matty and Billy G are now have gone on the hardcore power tyres and mediums too, so they've got the youngest tyres out of anybody in this race. Bus has dropped away dramatically now. Look at this man. Whenever this man can sense a podium, he goes for it, he gets riled up. It's like an on switch there as well. He knows that podium is of course for him. I can't wait to see what Adams does as well. Adams is doing a monumental job in this race. I never glazed him so hard like I've done any other times. But here he is then with the battery overtake. Let's see if it's easy to overtake the Red Bull or not. Speed's about 350 kilometers an hour. All the battery's being used, going down in towards turn 1. Is that illegal though? Is it illegal? Did he overtake in the yellow flag zone? I think he just got away with it. Adams is now up into P2 ahead of George. And I think the Scotsman has got away with it, so he's now up into P2. 12 laps left to go in this race. I don't think Adams can catch Fireplace, but P2 is definitely on the cards for this man tonight. He has been absolutely rapid indeed. There was a bit of chatter and talk and speculation and rumours in the past about him just giving up and leaving the game altogether, but I don't think Aiden really cares what this game is like. He just wants to drive and see what happens. And that's a good attitude to have as well. I don't have that attitude. I go in a race thinking I need to be quick and get solid results and let myself down as well. But this man, I don't think he lets anything faze him. He's been around long enough now to know the ins and outs of league racing. A lot of despair, heartbroken moments, a lot of bad results as well. At times where he's failed to win races on the last lap as well. He lost it by his teammate Keith in the McLaren a couple of years ago now. That was a ding-dong battle between those two. They fought on the last corner, and Keith just beat Adams as well. Adams was in despair. I remember when Adams as well lost three he lost 3 races in a row. He won them all, but he always was held back due to a post-race penalty. And it took a long time for him to win. He was so frustrated because something kept happening. I think Miami and the Dutch GP was one of them, and China too. But China wasn't a post-race penalty. It was he lost at the last corner. But I can't remember where he won after that. So he lost 4 races in a row. They came back to win. Was it Belgium? I can't remember. It was a long time ago. It could have been the Dutch GP who won, actually. As Bus goes purple in the first sector there, enjoying his new mini compound tyres, but there's 11 laps left to go in this race, and I don't think he will catch George or Adam, so they should be safe on the podium there for P2, P3. It's been a great race so far. There's a lot of battles. I mean, there's a lot of big gaps, it must be said, amongst the pack. They can't always have, spicy races all the time, lap by lap. British people as well have received some good news that the Prime Minister of the UK has stepped down, so a lot of people will be happy about that too. Big news for the UK. I am so excited too because this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I will be in the Netherlands racing for the 24-hour event with my team and my Dutch mates, so I cannot wait for that. It's going to be very interesting indeed, and guess what, 37 degrees to survive it too. Do you guys remember the video of Kevin Magnussen saying "suck my balls, honey"? Well, my voice is going. I do apologise. It's been really hard to speak, but I'm trying to fight through it as much as I can. My voice is on the verge of going. I think I'll definitely get a sore throat when I leave the stream, but I'm hanging on by a thread. As the great Murray Walker would say, am I going to stop because I got a lump in my throat? Well, yeah, Murray Walker, a great commentator indeed. Unfortunately, I wasn't around back then to experience his great commentary, but I know what his commentary sounds like due to the past races in the classical highlights in the past 30 years or so. A great commentator indeed. You know what, I've never really talked about my commentary journey, but the reason why I started because of one person was Alex Jakes back in like 2018, 2019. I heard his F2 commentary, and it really inspired me to be a commentator too. And obviously he's the main commentator of F1 now, is Alex Jakes. So one of my favourite commentators is the lead and main commentator for F1 itself. And he inspired me to do comms as well, and that's why I enjoy doing commentary. You know what? When it comes to commentating, you just got to have fun. You know, don't take it seriously, take it professionally, but not too seriously because you want to have fun as well. There's a lot of expectations as well with commentary because obviously you've got to be neutral, you've got to be unbiased. There's a lot of attributes and certainties and qualities comes with commentating as well. Obviously you've got to be unbiased as well because a lot of people will not be happy if you favour one person. I'm not favouring anybody, by the way, in this race. I'm just talking positive about it. Give a bit of glaze, give a bit of spotlight positivity as well. Oreo Glass and Keith going at it for turn 1 at P8. So let's see who comes out in that battle. And it is Keith who goes up into P9. I tell you what though, you need a strong voice if you're commentating because it can be really difficult when you're ill as well. Adam's got a bit of a ghost in the way there, so a bit of a ghost situation. Wishing himself and a Williams driver there. Could be Ronnie down in P11. We're not even talking about Spain or the what was the last race in MotoGP? Where was it? Come on, think. Czech Republic. Marc Marquez won in Czech Republic. Lewis Hamilton won in Spain. Guess what? They're both 40 points behind the championship leader in their respective categories. Marco Bezzecchi and Kimi Antonelli, both Italians. And guess what? Marquez and Hamilton are both driving red, and they go for the 8th championship. So, a bit of similarities going on there. Of course, I'm a big MotoGP fan, and Marquez won. If for those guys who don't know, Marc Marquez has surpassed 100 wins as well and got 7 championships to his name, and he's sustained more injuries than anybody before. He's sustained more injuries than most people in boxing. Most literally worse in boxing. That's not even exaggerated too, because if you know Mark Marquez, he literally falls off his bike all the time. He's had massive hindsights, massive crashes, but he's searching many times as well, and he should not be racing at all. He's broken so many bones in his body, it's unbelievable. I've never seen such a committed, steered driver. Rider, it must be said, for Mark Marquez. Unbelievable indeed for those guys who know what I'm talking about. Mark Marquez, who was ruled at the championship but missing races, is now 40 points behind. And for those guys who don't know, to give you some context, Marco Bezzecchi is the championship leader for MotoGP. He was suspended in the sprint and feature race because he punched a marshal, slapped a marshal twice. He crashed in the sprint race, and the marshal went up to lift his bike, and Bezzecchi ran over, slapped him in the face twice. He got suspended for the sprint and the feature race, and he lost so many points indeed. As Daniel there pick up as many points, penalties as he can. Just cutting corners indeed. Is the Brit, who has been on many marathons before as well. Credit to Daniel for going on so many marathons and runs. It's a great cause indeed. Fully respect him as well. He's got a great sense of humour as Energy Dan. When him and Keith, there's many differences in my commentary towards Energy Dan and Keith because they're more humorous, more jokey, and more relaxed and chilled back. They're great commentators indeed, but everybody's got a different style of flow when it comes to commentating. And when I first started commentating, I wasn't really that good. Let me give you an example. So when I first started commentating, let's go about Fireblaze. Fireblaze is now making his way towards this left-hander, and this right-hander, and this left-hander, and this right-hander, and this left-hander. Now he's on the power. DRS open. Coming towards the end of the centre. Now shifting. The pace was really good. The gap is 12 seconds. Doing a good job. Coming towards the right-hander. Yeah, that was my commentary back then in 2018, 2019. I had no idea what to say. It was so intimidating for me as well. And what's the word? Overstimulated for me as well. I was so nervous and I had no idea what to say as well. It was so difficult. But the time went on, you get better. You know, you get better at commentating. You understand a few things more. You know what to say. You know when to say them. You know what not to say, and how to do things as well, and how to set the story for the race. I think I've done a good job with that. And, you know, that's one of my skill sets as well. That's developed over the years. My confidence has grown and built up as well to talk about a race, how it goes on, the strategy, the history, the context, the strategies. I've already said that. But just generally being confident in yourself and believing in yourself too. Not everybody's born to be a commentator, but you can give it a go. I know it's more high pressure situation in esports because I've done a lot of esports comms, and blimey, the pressure is on. You got to focus 100%. You got to be careful what you say as well because there's hundreds of people watching. The max views I've had was commentators over 1,000, and probably about 100 people, 200 people watching at a time. Do you know how that's scary? Do you know how scary it is? And I let it get to me sometimes as well because sometimes I just stutter, mix up my words, get nervous, you know, start breaking down. But you just got to pretend nobody's there. When it comes to commentating, you got your partner with you sometimes. If you don't, then it might be tough because you're speaking to yourself constantly and to the audience. But the way I go into a race is I just think about, oh, who's that in the background battling? It's Keith and it is MCFC for P9 and P10. P8, P9, sorry. But I just go into the race just thinking about, not thinking what to say because you can't really think of what to say. Maybe for the introduction, when you're doing the introduction, but you just got to, what's the word? Improvise as well. Think on your feet and just improvise on what you're going to say. Like this battle here. Keith looking for a switchback. Trying to do the under and over. Down the inside, but the McLaren just breaks later. And Keith is unable to get the exit he needs out of the corner too. Just things like that, you know. I don't know why I'm getting a soliloquy here. Maybe I've been, I don't know. But because it's a quiet moment, I want to share my experience with you and my journey of commentating, how it's going, how it's gone. Not every single stream has gone well. As these two go side by side here, the breaker zone we go. There was times I struggled with commentating because of mental health and other personal issues as well, and it's affects you a lot as well. As Keith has a massive slide there in the slow speed corners. I had to jump through a lot of obstacles while I was commentating too. I think the OG guys remember Spain in Division 1 those seasons ago. My goodness me, that was the worst time I've ever had commentating, and the OGs know why. Spain Division 1, yes. Let's just say I had a bit of a high moment. That's all I'm going to say. That was one of my lowest moments at the time, but yeah, it's been a bit difficult commentating sometimes, and it's difficult now, not because of mental problems, but because I'm ill. Physical problems. It's really difficult to commentate when you're ill because your voice just constantly goes. It's like strains a lot. It's like I'm talking and it's like you got a chalkboard and you just rubbing the chalk against the chalkboard. It just sounds so bad as well. It sounds like my voice is dragging. Fire blaze. Well, when this man raced in his first season in SFR, he won this race. And guess who was his teammate? Me. I was his teammate a couple of seasons ago. We didn't know each other, but I volunteered to race because I wanted to have one race off. Do you know what? I thought that was Fireblaze going to go in the pit lane. I thought he would be mad to do that, but it wasn't. But this man, he's done a very good job so far. He's very handsome. Sorry, he's very handy in league racing. Always a driver to be reckoned with. Always a force to be reckoned with. A driver who never backs down. A driver who's had a few mishaps now and then. Who's been beaten in the last couple of races. And seasons 2 has been runner-up in the championships. But this man just never gives up. He always just keeps pushing and persevering. And keeps going on no matter what obstacle is thrown his way. He's a driver, of course, never starts really any arguments to try. He's a very cool driver on young head as well. Did I say that right? A very cool driver on young shoulders. There we go. He's got a good head as well. Sorry, he's got a very stable head. Keep it PG. He's got a very stable head. Has Fireblaze. He's more like a consistent driver. I think his skill rate of aggressiveness has been tuned up as well, because he was like a more lean back driver, more conservative in league racing. He wasn't really the aggressive type, the driver who would go for it. He would just wait for his right moment, and that's what's cost him in the last few seasons, just being a bit too patient and a bit too relaxed in league racing too. A bit, what's the word? I would say not obnoxious, but I'm thinking of another word, because my brain is so jumbled up. It's really hard for me to think of words right now. Wow, it's been, you know what, because there's been no fighting, it's been like an emotional last 10, 15 laps for me. Just like speaking about my journey, commentating. I didn't expect to last this long, you know. Do you know my whole game plan? I told Daniel, I'm going to stay muted throughout this time, not the entirety of this event, but I didn't want you guys to hear me sneeze, cough, or have a draggy sore throat and a draggy whatever. But yeah, it's been so difficult, man, trying to keep it 100% at all times. I really wanted Milan with me. I missed him so much. He is one of my best partners I've ever had as well whilst commentating. He's been, do you know what, ever since me and Milan partnered up for the first time in commentating, we have never ever had a bad stream or race. Since the first race we met, or the first commentary we've ever done, we have been absolutely amazing. I think it's the best partnership I've ever had whilst commentating with the Dutchman of Milan. He's Dutch and extremely talented, knowledgeable, and credit to him for all the commentary he's done in the past with me. He's outstanding in whatever league we go to, wherever we are, whatever situation we're in. He always pulls through and give the viewers what they need and want as well, and always positive reactions too. I think when it comes to commentating, I need to be a bit more or less serious, you know. I'm not too serious. I do throw out a joke there and then if it's appropriate, but in terms of commentating, I just need to be a bit more laid back, it must be said, not be too serious and just enjoy my time, because I've still got the pressure on me. You know, I feel like I need to deliver all the time, And that's why, with that extra pressure on your shoulders, you start to crack up as well. It's like league racing. You've got more pressure on your shoulders, you're likely to make mistakes. But if you're smooth with it, you can't always. Well, in league racing, you can never be chill, can you? But Fireblaze coming towards the stadium section now. The fireworks erupt in the background. This man has done a sensational job. The Dutchman, once again, is coming towards the final corner. The checker flag is in his sights as Fireblaze wins the Mexican Grand Prix. Well done to him. An absolute dominant drive for Fireblaze as he takes another win to his collection, another trophy. As Adams, well done to him for finishing P2. It's been such a great drive from the Scotsman in P2. Great moves, great pace, and George rounds up the podium in P3. The pole sitter was out of this race with Gurgley. What a shame for him indeed. The rest of the classifications are there on your screen. Do you know what? I want to interview Fireblaze. Don't really do podium interviews, but why not? I don't think Adams wants to join because he's not really a talkative person, is he? But if he does join, he joins. If he don't, he don't. I just want to hear Fireblaze. I am so happy that I made it towards the end. You know what? Trying to fight through this illness, you know. I could have gave up easily and just had this race off, but you guys deserve a commentator indeed. Trying to give you the best performance I can, and hopefully, you know, gave you the best I could in this race. Fire. We are live right now, and I want to give you a podium interview, mate.
I've been on the low.
Alright, so Fireblaze, congratulations on winning the Mexican Grand Prix, and your first victory was actually at this event too, which must bring back many memories too. Describe to us, how did it feel?
Well, it feels good, of course. I didn't qualify too well. I think I was on the wrong tire basically every time I switched, so wasn't great. But then, yeah, I had an okay start, but I was just able to make up some positions in the dry, and had a good race setup, so I was able to pass cars easily. I think Gurgley was struggling a bit as well. But yeah, once I got past him, I kind of never looked back.
Yeah, it was a very controlled, dominant drive from you. Ever since you took the lead, you never looked back indeed. And it's your third win in these mixed grids, it must be said as well. So let's talk about this game. Are you starting to feel a bit more confident now in terms of the car, the handling, the battery system, how it all works? Is the confidence now coming back towards you?
Well, I'm starting to get the battery quite a lot more now. It's just the management of it and where to deploy and where to LICO quite aggressively. But yeah. And for the rest, the car itself, I actually quite liked it the second I tried it, so yeah, for me, it's great at the moment.
Despite struggling in the practice sessions, how did you manage to find the time and pace in the actual race? Did it all start to come to you lap by lap?
Well, I mean, yeah, I could just kind of trust the car as well. I had like a free feeling as well. Even if I messed up a bit, I could just basically rotate the car a bit wider through the corner and not lose too much compared to last year where I'd just basically be losing a lot of time if I did that. But yeah.
Well, don't give on, mate. Thank you very much for the interview. It was a great race for you indeed. Well done to you, mate. Another astonishing victory added to your tally.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Especially at the top, jongen. Well, thank you very much for joining me No, sorry. Thank you very much for joining me in this stream. For those who are watching as well, Milan wasn't here, but hopefully he's back because we both have issues right now, mentally and physically as well. I say physically, and in terms of technical problems as well with the internet, and us both being ill. So hopefully we get better soon, and we'll see you all for the next race next week. But for us, by now, it is the Austrian Grand Prix and the Dutch Grand Prix this weekend in MotoGP and F1. So 2 things on this weekend, and I can't wait to watch it. So we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now, and enjoy those